Hey everybody, welcome to Revitalise, ReConnect Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet with a business owner and key influencer from across the UK business community. And today I've got the great pleasure to be with a business club member and a business owner who's only been in his business for just 2 years, but he has a wealth of knowledge from the public speaking arena. Can you please welcome this morning the actual presentation skills trainer, the one and only owner of Confidence by Design, Mr. Kyle Murtagh, in the box to the left and the right of me. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I am very well indeed, thank you. Very well indeed. I give you a big build up there. Did you like that?
I enjoyed that. It made me all soft and fuzzy inside. I loved it.
Brilliant, super. Well, welcome to ReConnect Meets, a second time round because we met last year, didn't we?
In a champagne bar. It was a messy one, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Well, no, it wasn't. Let's scratch that. It wasn't too messy.
We should clarify that. There was no alcohol involved. It wasn't a champagne bar.
It was a nice, quiet afternoon, a nice, lovely conversation that we had. And that was really in your early stages of where you are and where you came to so far at the minute, Kyle. So I wanted to really find out the reason for today was for you to share with everybody a bit about your journey. And could you give everyone a bit of a synopsis about Confidence by Design and your business, where it is right now?
Absolutely. So Confidence by Design, the reason I started this business was to help people find their confidence when presenting, whether that be in person, in public speaking presentations, or more recently in the online sphere. How to have confidence when you're talking to a camera like this, whether it be a Zoom call or creating video content about your business. It's all about empowering people to communicate more effectively, to get their message out there. Because that's what we've got at the end of the day, Lee. We've got messages to share. We've got value to share. And I like to think I help people do just that.
You do indeed. We talked about briefly as well this morning. It's about painting pictures in people's minds. And it's about how you get that enthusiasm of yourself across to the camera. I feel like we're starting to go tit for tat here now, getting more louder as we go along, but it's true, you've got to have that enthusiasm in helping people doing, because it's very nervous doing public speaking. You know, do you remember those good old-fashioned days when we had those face-to-face interactions?
Yeah, they're a vague memory, but I think, yeah, it did happen a couple of millennia ago. So yes, I do remember. Yeah.
But even now when we're embracing the virtual network, public speaking and how to project and how to sort of portray that across is extremely important right now. Have you been finding that a lot recently with what you've been doing?
Oh, 100%. It's critical right now. It's critical for your marketing because right now, a lot of channels, you can't pay for marketing or you just don't have the budget to do it. But you can market yourself effectively through presenting yourself well on camera, whether it be at an online networking event or creating your little video content like I mentioned before. And let's get one thing straight from the start. This is a lot more difficult than public speaking. In public speaking, you've got people to draw off from. You can see their reaction and then you can make adjustments from there and it gives you confidence as well. You're just talking to the lens of a camera. I'm looking at my camera right now. I have no idea what Lee is doing. He could be making faces at me for all I know. But you've just got to adapt to that and become comfortable speaking to this lens and really get that message and passion across, even though you're not in the same room as someone, which is a skill, but a skill which can be learned.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. Great ideas there. And over the last 2 years, what's been your biggest achievement so far? What would you say has been the sort of tipping point for yourself, Kyle, over the last couple of years about everything that you've just been speaking about there?
Sure. So, well, I think I've got two achievements, if I may. And one's kind of from a personal side, but it's still related to what we do and what we're talking about here. At the weekend, I was involved in a public speaking competition. It was for the UK and Ireland Championship of Public Speaking. Evaluation was the topic, evaluating someone's speech, giving them the best feedback possible. And I won at the weekend. And that's something I'm very proud of because 2 years earlier, I got to the final of the contest, but did not place. So I had to go away over this 2 years, make adjustments, get feedback from other people and put in a lot of work. And I was able to come back and win it, which was very great for me personally. So that is an achievement which I'm very proud of right now. In terms of my business specifically, I would say client impact. Now, what I mean by that is the influence I've been able to have in helping clients. I've had clients who have got new jobs through my training. I've had clients who have overcome their anxiety due to my training. I've had clients who have taken their sales and increased it by 40% due to my training. This is the sort of stuff which I really hold in high regard, the results. It's not about how I present on the day, it's about whether they do something with it. And I think that's how you can always judge a good presentation, by whether people take action on your words or not. And I'm so proud of those accomplishments. And it's not just down to me, it's down to them mostly. But I like to think I played a little part in that.
100%. And congratulations. Well done. Well deserved for the work and the effort that you've put in to fine tune the skills, always going away and going and looking at what you can do better and improve upon that. So really well done, Kyle. Really
Thank
well
you.
done.
And that's life, isn't it? Even your events, so you'll do an event and you always ask for feedback afterwards. And the reason for that is you're looking to see how you can improve for next time. And I think that's all we can do. Focus on getting better tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit like, when you're driving a car and you're driving, you're always looking to try and improve it, streamline it. No, don't change the wheel. Just adapt it to be better and more streamlined going forward. Mm-hmm. Well done. Thanks very much for that. With everything that's happening at present and everything that's going on, we're working from home and everything else, what's been the biggest diversification of your business? How have you had to adapt to overcome? Could you share that?
Absolutely. I've had to massively adapt. So before all of this, I was just doing public speaking training. And the problem is now there is no public to speak to. So basically I had to just throw that away for the meantime and say, right now I am an online presentation skills trainer. So I literally immediately made that change within 2 days of us knowing we were going into lockdown. And I decided to do a speaking to camera webinar. It went really well. It sold out. So I started doing more of this type of training. And that's how I've adapted. I've just pivoted completely. It's still within my sphere of expertise, but the focus has changed. And I think this is something everyone's got, Lee. We've all got a massive sphere of knowledge, but we focus on one thing, don't we, when it's convenient? And sometimes I think in crisis like this, we need to change our focus so then we're impacting more people and having an influence in this current climate as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a really big thing. It's the adapt and overcome. Many people just stay stagnant and just stay there themselves, or they can embrace it and go, do you know what? I can change. I'll just go off that A road slightly. It's going to take me to the same destination. It might take me a bit longer, but I have to learn to adapt to it very quickly. And I say this quite regularly, Cal, you've heard me say this. It's feeling uncomfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
You have to be feeling uncomfortable to make a difference, to make it work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a sign that you're growing and you're progressing forward in general, isn't it? And ultimately, I think it also comes down to having awareness of what you can and what you cannot control. So we can't control any of this. We can't control how long it's going to last. I mean, you're in the events business. You were telling me earlier, you're getting pushed back to 2021. That is not in your control. But what you can control is what you do right now, what you do with your business right now to adapt to these circumstances. And I think if we're just aware of that and focus on what we can control, that's where the magic can happen.
100%, Kyle, 100%. With everything you're doing with presentation skills, you're doing some great work with the webinars and online. Could you share with everybody today a little bit or a golden tip of your advice of the best way of presenting online to be you? What would you share with everybody?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this might actually sound like not being you, a piece of advice at first, but hear me out for a second.
Go on.
So like we mentioned before, this is tougher than public speaking. In public speaking, the audience, there's almost an expectation that they listen to you. It's respectful that they listen to you. In this, there's no reason for the audience to listen. I mean, think about the distractions which are in your environment right now while you're watching this video. The dog might be running around, the kids might be crying, the fridge is just over there, Lee. There's a lot of things that can distract us away from the video. So with that in mind, it is imperative that when you present to camera, that you're on something which I like to call being on 10. Being on 10. That means being at your absolute best. I mean, full passion, full energy. Everything you've got has to go into your video. And this almost sometimes means being a little bit larger than life. I don't communicate like this all the time when I'm lying around on my couch. I would be exhausted. But I'm giving it everything I've got right now because I know I need to keep people's attention while presenting in this domain. So lift your energy, give it full passion, give it everything you've got, and that will help you stand out on camera.
And you touched on that. It's standing out from the crowd. And I like the way you say, be your best, but be your best 10 every day. And when you present the camera.
Yeah, you're not being someone else. You're not being unauthentic. You're just being you at your absolute best, you know? And that's what we should be aiming for. Yeah.
Turning up the dial itself.
That's it. Turning up the dial. I like that one.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for the golden tips. And thank you very much for sharing your diversification, your achievements, which is brilliant to hear where you're going so far. But what's the next step for Kyle Murtagh? What's the next step for Confidence by Design? What's the next door of opportunity? Is it in a year's time? Is it in 6 months' time? Tell everybody what's the next step for you?
Absolutely. So I have a couple of goals in life, really, which are big for me. Number one is to become the world champion of public speaking. That's a big goal for me, and I work on doing that every single year when the season begins again. Second one is I want to make my company the go-to company in the UK for presentation skills. That is my goal. And I think one way I can look to do that is to really focus on a specific industry, which I believe I can help the most. And I think that is sales. I'm really looking to get into the sales industry a lot more, working with sales teams to help them present in a more compelling way so that their customers, say yes more often, but are also captivated and listen to every word they say. So that's going to be my focus going forward, into the sales industry and slowly growing this company up, bringing on other trainers, and eventually getting to that top spot, Lee, is number one. Which will probably take more, but yes.
Yeah, no, you have to set your goal, and you have to look to what you've got in place so far to achieve it, and you've always got to keep it visual on how you're going to get there. So you're going to have stages and marks that you're going to get to, but I believe that you will get to that stage as well, Carl. 100%, I'm behind you.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, I think we all have big goals, we all have big aspirations, and it's fine saying that. But it always does take longer than we expect. That's what I've found so far. I mean, when I got started in business, I really had a tough time. I was barely getting any clients, barely anything at all. And it took me a lot longer to get to the place I am now than I thought it would. And it will be the same for this goal as well. It's probably going to take 5, 10, whatever many years it does. It doesn't matter to me because this is my passion. It's what I love to do. I'm going to be here no matter what.
But
unless I get hit by a bus.
Keeping that on the horizon, keeping the look on the focus, and keeping the drive towards it all the time. Always keep it in the distance, and it'll get closer and closer to move forward.
Absolutely, and you find it yourself with your own Revitalise events. You're expanding, all over the place, and it's the same for you. It started out with a small thing, but you're building it up, and you're on the journey.
Very true. You got to keep tapping away. You can't take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going. And I've got many other analogies I can keep using, but we've got a certain amount of time.
Cars, I see. All to do with cars. I know what documentaries you've been watching then.
I was part of the car industry for many years, so that's exactly why.
Very good.
An analogy to use. If anybody want to get in touch with you today and they've seen us on the YouTube channel, seen us on or heard us on the podcast, how can they reach out to you, Kyle? How can they make contact and start the conversation with you?
Sure, 2 options. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name, Kyle Murtagh, Murtagh. There's not too many Murtaghs, so hopefully I'll come up first. Or alternatively, you can go to my website, Confidence by Design. Type that into Google, it should come up. And then you can check out my services there, and my contact details are there as well. But it'd be great to hear from you. If you've got any questions about presentation skills in general, happy to answer them. Always looking to give.
Brilliant. And I would highly recommend anybody looking to fine tune, to exceed their presentation skills, to be able to speak to camera with more confidence, to reach out to Kyle and find out about his webinars and seminars that he's got coming up over the coming weeks. Thank you very much, Kyle, for being part of ReConnect Meets once again today. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Very much enjoyed it. Learned lots about cars. Loved it.
You're more than welcome. That was off camera, by the way, about the cars. But anyway, anyone's afraid about cars, reach out to Lee. But stay tuned, everybody. Keep an eye out for the next ReConnect Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet with a business owner and key influencer from across the UK business community. Stay safe, everybody. Keep well. And me and Kyle look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.